everyone. The sun is in my eyes. Anyways, so today I want to talk about I want to do a follow-up of my hip piercings video because a lot of people ask me about how they're doing now, if I still have them, all that. So I'm just going to answer all those questions in a video. Paul here is going to help me tell the story. No, he's not, because he actually really doesn't want it to be held right now. But anyways, alright, I'm going to move over here so the sun isn't in my face. Alright. So basically, I no longer have my hip piercings. It was a freaking disaster. I would not recommend them to anybody. Maybe it's the way that I got them pierced, but I don't know. I just didn't have a good hip piercing experience. It's unfortunate because I see people who have lovely hip piercings, and I'm like, why couldn't that be me? So yeah, essentially, I got my hips pierced with, I'll actually show you the, piercings that they use, the bars. I wouldn't recommend, if you do get your hips pierced, I wouldn't recommend getting them pierced with these. They pierced them with this. Can't really see it because of the sun. This. Essentially what that is I think it's the dermal anchor. I'm not 100% on the terminology for this, so don't bitch at me if I'm not saying everything 100% correctly. I'm going to say right now, I am not 100% sure about the terminology for this, so give me a break. Okay. So, dermal anchors, I want to say that's what they're called. I think that maybe the other ones are called dermal anchors. Or maybe they're just dermals. I'm not sure. Regardless, the bars, that's what I'm just going to refer to them as. The bars, I wouldn't recommend getting them pierced with. If you do go to get them pierced, you should do the ones where they do, essentially they stab your skin, and then they just, insert this little gem type situation. It kind of looks like a labret piercing or a lip piercing, kind of like that, but I'm not 100% sure of what those are called, but those are better where it's just the little stud that appears on your skin, and you have to go, to the tattoo artist to get them taken out or changed, as opposed to the bars that I had. So not all tattoo parlors do surface piercings just because they are very risky and they don't want to, be held responsible if something goes wrong, even though they're not technically liable if they reject, because they have a very high rejection rate. That's another thing. Paul, what are you doing? Stop it. That's another thing, is they have a very high rejection rate, and I'm going to tell you this right now, it's really not a good idea. It's a waste of money. I know one girl who paid $200 for her hip piercings, and I guarantee she still doesn't have them. She got them done, a couple weeks before I got mine done, and they cannot I doubt it. I mean, after high school, she was in my English class after high school, after we graduated this summer. I mean, I don't see her anymore, so I couldn't tell you, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were not existent anymore. But, so actually, let me show you my ugly ass scars for my hips. They're not as bad as they used to be, but as you can see right there, 2 little dots, and then on the other side I have 2 to match. They used to be a lot darker when I first took them out, but I think, after a while, scars start to fade anyway, so it's not that big of a deal if they do scar. A lot of people are like, oh, these hideous scars. Scars fade, so it's not too bad. You can buy scar fading cream, but I found that I did try that. I found that when I used that, it made them, hurt. Really hurt, on the inside. So I was like, oh, I'm not going to use this anymore. And then I started to fake tan, and now they're a lot less noticeable than before, because I think that they're starting to match with the tone of my skin. So I mean, you could always try that too. If you're not into fake tanning, then you could do the scar cream, and if not, you can always get tattoos to cover them up. So there, you have some different options. But basically what happened with mine is I had them for about 4 or 5 months, and the entire time they were just very, as if I had just gotten them pierced yesterday. They were so freshly new. they never healed ever. They were never completely healed. They were always oozing something or crusted around, and like I would use rubbing alcohol to try to get it to dry out, which I know like isn't the best solution. You're not really supposed to use that, but I figured it'll, hopefully dry it out and it'll heal, but that didn't work. I tried using saline solution. They say that if you take contacts, like eye contact solution, and heat it up a little bit and rub it on, that'll help. That didn't help me. You can use Epsom salt or something like that, like a saline salt type situation. It just, none of it worked for me. Sea salt. Sea salt's supposed to work really good. That's the one thing I didn't try because I didn't, at the time that I got them pierced, I was at my old job and I wasn't making nearly as much money as I am now, so I wasn't able to afford such things, even though it's not really that expensive, but when you're a college student, your money, goes elsewhere besides salt and things that you actually need or want. They all goes to college or in the gas tank, but anyways, that's a different story. Yeah, so pretty much I did not have a good hip piercing experience. I personally wouldn't recommend them to anybody. I would never, I'm never gonna get any. I was thinking about getting my collarbones done, but I'm like, no, because then I'm just gonna have ugly scars there and just have to deal with all that crap again. So essentially, no more surface piercings for me. I mean, if you want to try it, you can go ahead, just because like it's different for everybody. Everyone has a different experience. Like everyone's body adjusts to things differently. So if you want to try it, I mean, do it. I wouldn't say if you're really, if you're really keen on it, go for it. But I'm just trying to say that I personally didn't have a good experience with it, so I wouldn't get it done again. And if I could go back, I probably wouldn't do it, or I would do it differently and get the little stud things instead of the bars. So yeah, I think I covered everything. It hurt. They hurt all the time. They were just oozing and just gross, and they never healed, and just nothing worked. So I took them out. Now I have scars, and they're done. And if you're going to go get hip piercings, just make sure that your piercer knows what they're doing, first of all. Second of all, make sure that it's clean. And third of all, I would recommend the little stud thingies instead of the bars, but it depends on the preference, I suppose, or the tattoo parlor, what they offer. So regardless, that is the current up-to-date on my hip piercings that no longer exist. So hope I answered everybody's questions about that, because I know a lot of people keep asking me, like, oh, do you still have them, and how are they, and oh, da-da-da. Hopefully this answered everything. If not, shoot me a message, comments, and I shall try to respond to the best of my ability. And I thank you for watching and bearing with me through 8 minutes of me rambling about shit. I don't even know if any of this made sense. I hope that it did, but alright, so thanks for sticking around.